Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday Live Lesson. My name is Aldrine Guerrero, joined by these fine gentlemen, Mr. Aaron, the voice, Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
Mr. Kahai, the legend, Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
And joining us back from the dead, what's going on? Magic, Mike Odo.
Oh, konnichiwa!
You leave us for months, you study abroad, you pick up a little Chinese and Japanese with you. You know what I mean? Like, now he's just this multilingual, like music professor. Like, where'd you run off to, Mike? What you been up to?
Let's see. There was quarantine.
There's this one little thing.
Just this one thing happened.
How's work, man? Like, how's how's Kauai Business? Let us know. Like, how's
Business
this whole thing been affecting you? Oh yeah,
it's slow. The place I work we used to be open 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. Now we're open 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait. We used to open 6 days a week, and then 5 hours a day. Now we're only open 4 days a week for 4 hours a day.
Uh-huh.
So it's tough on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Is no question. There just isn't. But we're doing what we can. And I think it's the most efficient way we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if we were open for a full hours, we'd be overall we'd be making less money.
Yeah.
Because we probably get only the same amount of business, which really isn't that much right now.
Yeah.
No tourists, basically.
No
tourists.
tourists.
Yeah.
And the very few tourists that we have are, for a while they're all stuck in quarantine, so they can't do anything anyway.
Yeah.
But that's how, we've been working with them in the sense that we've been delivering stuff to them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tough because it's not to be stereotypical, but I'm about to be stereotypical.
Oh, here we go.
Get ready for this.
Wait, before we do this, let's just say Ukula on the ground does not words of Mike Odo does not reflect upon Ukula on the ground.
This is my opinion only.
Go ahead.
Backed up by some facts. The majority of the tourists who are here are all quarantining on the North Shore.
Oh, I know what you mean. Wink, wink.
Yeah. So delivering out to them is an issue, is kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it is. What we feel is fair to charge them for delivering something out there.
Mm-hmm.
To some people, it'd be like, "Wow, that's a lot of extra money," but it's like we're literally driving more than halfway across the island to get this to you.
Right. Yeah.
We were I just did one, and the guy was kind of giving oh, that's a lot of money for it was $75 to deliver.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, I'm delivering a guitar from Lihue all the way to Honolulu.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those of you who don't know Kauai, that means nothing. For those of us that live on Kauai, that's a lot. That's a far journey for us.
That's
also
for us. Yeah.
Yeah, for us.
Yeah.
And
for any Uber driver.
It's a lot of mileage.
Or taxi driver.
Because
I got paid more to do it when I was a taxi driver for sure.
Yeah.
How much is how much was the guitar? Let's go with that first.
I can tell you what it was too. It was a Koa GS Mini.
Okay, so how much is one of those?
So it's about $800.
All right. So if you were a pizza delivery guy, let's just say that, right? You ordered $800 worth of pizza. That took 45 to an hour, to deliver. 10% of that, if you're giving the guy 10% tip or whatever, even at 5%, right? It would be what, $40 at 5%?
Yeah.
$80 at 10%.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You guys don't have a guarantee, get your instruments hot and ready.
Get your guitar ready. No, not even a little.
So for those of you folks that don't know Mike here, he is the guru we like to call Mike the guru, Magic Mike. Odo is the guru. He's the music guru. If you guys want to ask any kind of music related questions, especially music theory, Mike is the man to ask. So for all of you folks who are watching us live right now, if you want to ask your question, your burning music question, today will be the best day to ask all your music questions, because the guy, the myth, the legend, Kahai is here also, but Mike Odo is
the
here.
other legend.
The other legend. How about a round of applause for Mike Odo, everyone?
It's mostly myth, but I'll take it.
So I've been before we get started, I've been kind of cleaning up my my closet at my parents' house, and look what I stumbled upon. We talk about this all the time. This is Zen Guitar, the book.
Oh.
Yeah, so because we were just referencing this like a couple of weeks ago, or last week, or something, where white belt turns to black, wash it off, turns back into white belt and stuff. So for those of you folks who are interested, this is the book. I found this in my in my parents' house. So I took it. I'm gonna reread it again because there's a lot of time in my hands. All right. Also, and pretty cool that Mike has his comic books in the background, because I found this a couple of gems, my comic book gems. So first one, this is Ultimate Spider-Man #1. This is the white variant cover. So it's not even the regular Spider-Man #1. There's a white variant of it. Love Ultimate Spider-Man. I like Brian Michael Bendis as a writer, Mark Bagley as the illustrated. Pretty cool stuff. So this is one of my grails, I would call it. And then last but not least, bam, look at this. Signed by Stan Lee, 8.0.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 120. This is the death of Gwen Stacy. This is a key issue. Pretty good stuff. Now I'm gonna put this in my house, but I think I put it away because I was scared that I would get some sun damage on it and stuff. It's not that fancy schmancy UV protected covering, so I'm maybe you should just keep this away. But yeah, I'm gonna display this in my house.
Just rub some suntan lotion over the whole thing. SPF 500 times.
That should be all good. But yeah, so just like Mike in the background, maybe I should put this in the back somewhere, this.
That's not bad right there, actually.
Photo, right there, they'd be
actually
good.
So that's pretty cool. As an aside for comic books, I found I discovered this website.
Yeah.
readcomics.to or something.
Okay.
I just have it saved. So it's this website that has scanned thousands of.
Is this some illegal thing?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. We should want to support, the artist.
Mike does it, so wouldn't be illegal.
It's actually very cool because I was able to go find very specific old comic books that I don't have and read them again.
Mm-hmm.
That were just wow, I haven't seen this in 20, 25 years.
Yeah. I haven't had my heart broken in a long time. Let me go read Death of Superman, and then the four.
Actually, I have the trade paperback of that, so I'm okay with that one.
It's I bought 10 copies, and no one wants any. Now you can't even give it away because it's worthless.
There was a comic book series called Rom the Space Knight.
Oh yeah,
that I was really into in the 90s, and I still have, a bunch of issues of it here and there, but they have the whole series. So that was super cool because I was able to read from issue 1 and just all the way to the end of issue 75, which was the end of the series.
Nice.
You know what I mean? In just a couple days, I was able to just read the whole thing. It was like a super nostalgia trip. It was pretty awesome.
That's cool, man. So is it readcomics.to, you said?
Read comics, yeah, .to.
Right on. All right, so 12 minutes in. Well, let's talk about ukuleles, guys. There's a ukulele on the ground. How this works is this is what's called Live Lesson Thursdays. So if you guys want basic to know anything, the four of us here have played ukulele for years. We kind of know a thing or two, and if not, then then we call someone. But usually the person we call is already here, so we won't have to make any phone calls today. But Yeah, I mean, I'll try to answer it as best as I can, and I'll ask these three guys to put their 5 cents in there. We'll come up with a super answer just for you. We are live, so if you guys want to ask us anything, use the live chat. But if not, if you guys can't join us live, you can always email us, send us messages to Ukulele Underground. We'll try to get back to your question live on the podcast if we can. So Kahai, let's get started. What's the first question?
We don't have any questions right now, but
Okay.
last week, didn't you want to talk to Mike about so like a performance and something that he told you that affected you greatly that lasted with you?
Let's save that. Let's save that. First, let's help people first, and then we'll grill Mike about something.
Okay.
We brought you here for a reason, Mike.
Was this one of those times I told you sucked after a few
Kind of. No. So, do we have any student reviews?
Yeah, we have one from Wesley, and he's playing Canon in D, right? But I think it's in C.
C, yeah. So, Canon, Pachelbel's Canon, by Wesley. So Wesley, he sent us a bunch of stuff already to just kind of to check out. And he's been working on his Queen's Wave. He calls it the Queen's Wave instead of like the regular wave, which is really cool. That's a cool way of putting it. And so he did Pachelbel's Canon. I thought he did great. There are some things that that I do want to comment on. The roll looks pretty good. He is doing he is twisting the wrist correctly for the rolls that he's putting, especially in the beginning where he's like. So when he was doing that part, it's pretty good. But one of the things that I do want to comment on is make sure that each note and each chord is ringing out to its full value, especially with a slow song like Pachelbel's Canon, because once you get started with with the song, so all that part was pretty good. Then once you kind of add the okay, so once you add those other things in there, you want to be able to kind of hear the chord ringing out as you play the notes underneath, because the chord that you play in beat 1 has to be, it basically sets the stage for for the next 3 notes or 4 notes that you're going to play, and then the chord that comes in beat 1, the next measure, sets the stage for the next like 3 or 4 notes, so on and so forth. So you got the okay, so you're hearing that chord ring out. That's kind of what I was missing from this video. Is like once you kind of started picking and playing, you kind of let go of the sustain for those chords. Okay, so and I think it has something to do with how stiff it seems like that you were kind of playing this tune. If you loosen up your fingers, if you loosen yourself up a little bit, it should be a lot better, because if your left hand is so stiff and you're trying to play other chords, so say for example I get to the to the G, like if I'm playing it stiff, it's gonna stop, okay? Because as soon as like I let go of that chord, not even like lifting my fingers off, but as soon as I let go of that pressure on that chord, it's gonna stop, which is kind of what it sounded like. Because and I don't think you meant to do it. It's just that once you started playing the notes, that you were kind of concentrating on each on each finger playing that note out, because it's part of the chord. So when you were doing that, you kind of let go of the pressure with the other fingers. So when you did, and kind of cut it off too soon. You want to be able to just plant it there. So when you have to G, for example, don't let that G go. You want it to kind of ring out, and those notes ringing out with it. Okay. And it gets even tougher when you're playing it up here, right? Because when you're playing it up here, the tension goes up, and even just a little bit of give on your left hand is going to cut those notes off. So make sure that that you're planting those notes correctly and you're holding it you're holding it correctly so that it's held out for its full value. Really, that's one of the most important aspects of the song, is because it's so slow, it just kind of has to go from one part to the other nice and smoothly. What do you guys think? Mike, check out the video?
I did.
What have you got to say? Here we go. Teacher himself is going to let us know how it's done.
So at the beginning, so I would probably say at the beginning to the beginning of the middle of his video, it was pretty much what you're saying. I don't think the chords were ringing out quite as much as they could. Where he really started to fall to really run into some issues was when you're like bam ba da dan da 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 ba 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 da dan da da dan. There were a lot of interesting note choices there. And I think and this is kind of goes back to something I talk about a lot, is this is one of the reasons you want to practice individual scales all over your instrument. Because all those runs in Ken and D are basically just major scales. So if you run the major scales all over the place, your fingers will be used to being in those positions. There were times when, like, instead of say the sixth note, you played the flat six or the sharp six or something like that. And also one thing specifically to, what's this gentleman's name?
Wesley. I could see like about 3/4 of the way you start to get real frustrated. It's okay. I heard him take the big breath, just that. So I just want to tell you right now, don't worry too much about that. We've all been there. Yeah.
We have all taken that big breath. We have all had the hailstorm of expletives that come after that big breath sometimes. It's completely normal, But one thing I really do want to say too is build up those fundamentals. Run those scales. Every chord in that song, run that scale over and over, all over your fingerboard. When you get to that part again, you're going to find it becomes a lot easier because your fingers have already kind of done it. All right. The other thing about that is when you're starting to get frustrated like that, stop for a second. Okay. I know you were in the middle of filming a video, but one of the really tough things about frustration is it compounds on itself. So if you get frustrated, your hands are, in general, your hands are probably going to stiffen up a little more. The synapses between your brain and your fingers telling you where to put your fingers, they're going to short circuit a little bit. Frustration does that. But the problem is, so what happens is you make a mistake, you get frustrated, you're basically setting yourself like tumbling down the hill that you're going to make more mistakes now that you're more frustrated. Stop for a second, take a deep breath, calm yourself down, then try again. You'll often find sometimes when it comes to practicing things that are a little bit more technical, run it a few times, and as soon as you start to feel that tension in the back of your neck because you're getting angry at yourself, stop for a second, take a deep breath, shake your hands out, start again. It's okay. It doesn't matter if it takes you 100 times to get to the fluid thing that you're looking for. The important part is you just don't give up at 99. And I mean, I can't even tell you how many days in practice rooms in college I had that. And I had to watch myself too, because for those of you who do know, I went to a church-based college. I went to Brigham Young University. So I had to be very careful because if certain members of the student government were walking by and they could hear what I was screaming in that practice room at myself, I would get fined.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, you swear on campus, $25 fine.
Really?
I would have, if they could have heard some of my practice sessions, I would still be in debt to Brigham Young University. I would probably still owe them about 50 grand worth of swears. But I think my whole point of that is don't beat yourself up. It's natural. It's normal.
Mhm.
You know, your music is struggle. It really is. Any art form is a struggle to get to where you want to be,
Mhm.
but it's worth it. If you love it, it's worth it. So just keep going. Keep going. You know.
Yeah, and going, adding a little bit on top of what Mike was saying, with just it's just scales, really, like with Canon and D, that run, that it's that part is a Mixolydian, because you're starting from 5 going to 5, kind of like with breezing. So if you know your fretboard, and if you've kind of practiced your scales enough, like what Mike was saying, you've already kind of done it before, like if you've been drilling yourself, if you've been kind of studying like how scales work, those notes shouldn't be unfamiliar. I don't think Canon and D has any note in it that doesn't belong in the scale, right? It doesn't have like any kind of like if it was in C, it doesn't have any sharps or flats, right?
Yeah.
Like it's pretty straightforward. So
Yeah.
if you do know your scale, then like kind of knowing which note to play next shouldn't be of a surprise, right? So yeah, that's really good advice to kind of just to tell everyone the importance of like practicing your scales, because that's really all it is. If you're playing breezing, if you're playing Canon and D, if you're playing I'm Yours, like whatever it is, if you kind of know your scale, there shouldn't be anything that that surprises you.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and Wesley has been doing a lot of classical music too, which
Mhm,
is pretty much strictly just the scales,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whatever key that you're in, that's the scale that you're going to be playing.
Well, it depends on the era of classical music.
Uh-huh.
But definitely the era that he's playing in. If you're still playing Baroque music, which is like Bach, Pachelbel, Vivaldi, those guys,
Yeah.
they very much were. They would, like, if it was in the key of C, they didn't really move out of the key of C too often.
Mhm.
Now, when you get to Mozart's era, which is a little bit later, and especially Beethoven and guys like that, they were trying to push the envelope at that point.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize this, because to our ears, Beethoven's music is very consonant sounding.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of like weird dissonance there.
Mhm.
But if you listen to any of his string quartets, when they were premiered in the 1800s, there were music critics who absolutely hated them.
So it's kind of like hearing rock and roll in the 50s. They're like, oh, what is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, what is this?
You know, shaking of the hips.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like we talked about how like music used to be Gregorian chant, which is basically one scale, no harmony or anything like that.
I think I'd do pretty well in Gregorian chanting. I think I could improvise pretty well in that scale.
It wouldn't be that hard, no. But eventually, even when they sang, when you added things like the thirds and the fifths, which to us sounds really normal, that was almost scandalous in some parts. Like, oh, that's these two notes aren't the same. What are you doing?
Gotta wear like a red letter A.
Yeah.
A red treble clef is what.
Red treble clef.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what
harmony.
it was. But that's kind of what it was. And so in every century, there's something usually that's introduced.
Right.
That, if you think about jazz, which is a really harmonically sophisticated music, since the last time I was here, we talked a lot about jazz. If you listen to jazz of like the 1930s, which is like Benny Goodman style, and you listen to jazz of the 40s, which is Charlie Parker, and you're going to hear way more chromatic notes. And it was like, to guys from that era, the big band era, it was like shocking. Like for a lot of them, they were just like, you're playing a lot of wrong notes. What are you doing?
You're playing a lot of notes.
You're playing a lot of really wrong notes. But the bebop guys were all like, no, we hear the sound of this chromatic movement. That's what we hear, so that's what we're playing. And then when you finally get to the 60s, where guys like Ornette Coleman showed up, and if you've never heard Ornette Coleman play, it's shocking at the beginning. because his band, his idea of a band was, he would stand with the horns in the middle of the stage, okay, and he'd have one jazz quartet, piano, bass, drums over here, and then he'd have another one over here, and the instructions were play whatever you hear. I'm not kidding. That was his harmonic theory, such as it was play. It was a very reactionary kind of music. So as Ornette would play the melody of his songs, the two different bass players, obviously they're hearing two different things. So they're playing whatever they think goes with what he's doing. The
awesome.
two drummers doing the same thing, the two piano players doing the same thing. Even the other horn player, their part, harmony-wise, was whatever they heard him do and build off of that. But he would never write it down. Because he felt like, on Monday, you might feel it's this, but on Tuesday, you might feel it's this. So I just don't write it down because I don't want to hold you back.
So is that like what that drum circle in Kapiolani Park is doing? You know, they're just like, just play what you hear.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much think about any hippie,
so
any
jazzy.
hippie drum circle, or if they got like the American Native American flutes, like that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much what they're doing. They're all just reacting to each other, which, if you have the skill to do it, can create beautiful music. And if you don't have the skill to do it, it turns into that.
I have like flashbacks back to NAMM, right? Because didn't they have like that big drum circle night? And we're just like walking back, trying to get back to our hotel room, and there's just like 20 people with bass drums just like beating it. It's like, okay, yeah. I don't think I'm gonna stay around for this
drums.
one. Yep.
They're playing, what was that? What's his name? Ornette
Ornette Coleman.
Ornette Coleman. Playing some Ornette Coleman. See?
Oh my god.
You wouldn't understand. You don't. You're not sophisticated enough.
I teach drumline, and the thought of 20 bass drums anywhere scares me.
All right, Kai, what do you think about Wesley?
I think like bringing it back to what Mike said, you know, like when you get frustrated, take a break. And then something that you said earlier, like before in past podcasts, is like it's not practice makes perfect, it's perfect practice makes perfect, right? And that's one of those things where I don't know, if you're a student musician, I think you've always had, like, everybody has this thing where they just can't play like one, you know, bar or one part out of the whole song, and they hate it. And it's like the teacher's like, well, just practice that one part. And when you do, you just keep getting more and more frustrated, right? And you're just like, I can't do it. So when it comes time for like recital or time for the actual concert, it's like that part ends up becoming like something where it's like every time it comes up, it's just like, oh my god, that part is coming up and I can't do it. It's gonna be terrible and it's gonna be the worst. And I think that's when you get frustrated, that those thoughts just happen more often, and that's what's gonna keep you back. Where it's like, even though you're trying to play well, like those things are, you know, it's like it's gonna pop up again when you're playing again. It's like if you know a part is gonna give you trouble, it's like you're gonna be afraid of it. It's like, oh no, that part's gonna come up. Yeah, and
it can very easily be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you have to be very mindful about that. You don't want to talk yourself out of being able to do something. Because if you tell yourself over and over, this sucks, it's really hard, and I can't do it, guess what? You probably won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, but approach it like anything else. If you think like, okay, like for Wesley, one of the great things is that you did film it. Watch yourself. Listen to yourself with a critical ear, and watch your hands with a critical eye. Figure out where those issues were. And one of the great things that you film yourself is that you now have that snapshot in time of where you were. Send us the same video again in 6 months. Keep working on it. Send us again in 6 months. I promise, if you keep working, you're gonna have a lot of that stuff down under your hands. And then if you combine the two videos, it's kind of cool because you have now like this little journal of your journey to playing this song. I hope you filmed yourself a bunch of other times doing it, just, you know, that you didn't necessarily post for us to see, but it can be really useful. You know.
You can kind of see Wesley's like thought process too when he hits that spot, and he's like, and then he just like keeps playing right. It's like we can understand that, but like I think if Wesley's thinking like I have to finish this song, I have to play the rest of it because I'm recording a video, like I think we would have actually been like, oh, we appreciate that you like just like took a break or something to get your bearings right and came back and then did that, you know. Like if you actually record yourself taking a break or saying like okay, like, you know, recentering yourself, like we can see that. And I think we wouldn't tell you like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Is like, yeah, that's a good thing to actually practice in the time too. If you feel like you're getting frustrated, try and get yourself like back to neutral again.
Absolutely.
Because I think like there's always gonna be situations that you come across musically that's gonna like fluster you, and to have that mental capacity to be able to say, okay, let me like take a breath, let me get this back to where I know I can play, and then restart it. I think that is a good practice, and I think that's something that you might not see people actually do live, but that's a skill set that people need to have to be good musicians.
Yeah, trust us when we tell you, good musicians do this in the practice room all the time.
Yeah,
there's always times where we're going to stop and just try and collect ourselves and say, what's not working right now, and how can I fix this? You know.
Yeah. Anything to add, Aaron?
And slow down. Sorry. And slow down too. That's another big one.
Yeah.
You know, slow down. Have, you know, really, again, like Kahai said, it's not practice. It's perfect practice gets it perfect.
Yeah. It's a Macintosh quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, really, my favorite is, where's my metronome now?
My favorite is play it right.
I don't know if I ever told the metronome story. He accused one of us of stealing his metronome.
Sounds like something you do.
No, well, okay, so here's what it was. He had a metronome that he kept on his thing, and one day it disappeared. And he always swore up and down Justin Perem stole it.
Okay.
Turns out Amin Mahal stole it. Because after Amin graduated, we were cleaning out the side room that he would always practice in, and we looked behind like a tuba case and we found it.
Is he related to Diva?
Diva's older brother.
Yeah, I just saw Diva on like a Netflix show. Like
she's doing good.
She's doing some stuff. Taj Mahal's kids, I guess, you know.
One of the 27 he has. I forget how many. Actually, I think it's like 17 or 18 for real.
So yeah, just like I was saying, Aaron, do you want to have anything to add?
Just like we've kind of told him before, plant some finger down whenever you're doing your finger picking, because that will make it a lot easier, make your hand stable. So yeah, he's heard it already.
Yeah, I didn't want to add that.
Yeah, he's done it before, but he just has to do it more consistently, and a lot of that stuff will come a lot easier. Because even when Aldrine was doing, you know, kind of giving an example right now of him playing that, you know, canon in D or canon in C, the way that you did it, he was doing it with just his thumb picking out the notes, but he was still holding the ukulele. Yeah, so he kind of has some way to stabilize his hand, so he knows where his hand is in space, instead of just free floating and then having to guess where you know your strings are, where the notes are. And so yeah, just stabilize your plucking and strumming hand, and especially when you're finger picking.
One of the things that is a result of him not planning his hand down. That's why I was debating bringing this up, because we've told him before too.
Yeah.
Bring it out.
is that you can hear the difference between his thumb and what his pointer picks. Because with his thumb, he's doing more of a rest stroke, and with his pointer, he's doing a free stroke. So you can really hear the difference tonal, like with the tone of those two. So if he just planted his fingers down, that should help a little bit. But yeah, those are all things that I think he kind of knows, and it's just like, just try and implement.
He's kind of working one thing at a time. He's gotten the twist of
Yeah,
the
the
wrist
twist. Yep.
down. So knocking off one thing at a
Yeah,
time.
there you
So
go.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it can seem really overwhelming if you try and do like 4 different
Everything.
technical things
Yeah.
all at once. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So no, I mean, it's all progress. You know, he's making progress forward, and that's really the important part, dude. So
Mhm.
again, if you're watching this, man, it's forward progress. Every time you get you improve something, you're improving as a player.
Mhm.
So don't worry that you don't have the other 3 things yet. 2 weeks from now, you'll have the next one, and 2 weeks after that, you'll have the next one, and you know.
Mhm.
So, Mike, last week we talked about pedals. Yeah, like and
Okay. Wait, pedal points are actual like physical
Just-
pedals,
like like
effect pedals.
pedals, effect pedals. Yeah,
Okay.
we're talking about effect pedals. And I remember I was this very very excited young boy that just got his tenor kamaka and is about to play at the KCC Performance Hall. Yeah, you remember this?
All right.
And then
No,
it
but
was,
okay.
it was for Ikani Kapila Kako. It was one of their songwriters, kind of showcase and stuff. I remember there was David Tomoko was there, and he was competing and stuff, and I was just there to kind of
That wasn't for
to play.
EKK.
What was that for?
That was for the Kauai Music Festival.
Kauai Music Fest. That's what it was. Kauai
It was
Music Festival.
Yumi and Ryan playing Breezin'. right?
Yep, you remember. You got the dates,
You had
right?
you
Okay.
had this hair.
Yes, yes. We talked about that too last week. Great pod. Listen to it. Anyway, so do you remember what you said to me when I was setting up my ukulele and my pedals?
Not even a little. Go for it.
Okay. You said, and I quote, "What are you trying to do? Launch a spaceship with those with those buttons or whatever? Like what are you trying to launch a spaceship with all those
okay.
pedals?"
Okay, so full disclosure, I do not remember this at all. However, that sounds exactly like something I was
and I bring this up and because that was actually I've actually have to thank you for that, because that's actually the turning point of everything. Because up to that point, I was playing with the band one time, and I explained this last week. I was playing with the band with Daniel and Ryan and Mike and Mark and stuff. When when I was playing with that band, I was playing with a lot of different pedals, and then I started kind of experimenting with different pedals. And I think when we were playing Breezin', I was trying to do some stuff or whatever, but that was a moment in my career where everything kind of turned around. I'm like, maybe, and I didn't want people to kind of use the amount of effects that I was using as an excuse, kind of to tell me that I wasn't that good. You know what I mean? Like when I didn't want people to be like, oh, well, he sounds good because he has this pedal and this, and he sounds good because he's putting delay on it with like this reverb, and or he sounds good because there's distortion on his ukulele. Like you can play anything with distortion, it'll sound cool. So it was that like kind of point of like, are you gonna launch a spaceship? I'm like, I don't want to launch spaceships anymore. Like I don't really want to lug around this like 15-pound pedal board that I was like lugging around at that point. So, and I think I was like, well, I don't want to give anybody any reason kind of tell me that like he only sounds good because of this. And from then I'm like, well, I want to play so good that like I don't have any pedals, and then nobody can say anything, because everything that's coming out of my ukulele is because of skill, because of my hands, it's because of my knowledge of music and stuff. And that was really the turning point of my career. So thank you for that very very uncalled for comments. Comments, because that was the that was a turning point. And I was like, let's just get rid of most of these pedals. The only pedal I really use now, and you've seen my setup, is really the DI. If I want to be fancy, I have a reverb pedal. Like that's really it, a reverb pedal and and a DI. If I'm playing live with a band and stuff, maybe I'll bring out some of the other pedals like distortion or wah or anything like that. But for the most part, if I'm playing just pure ukulele, it's just the DI and maybe a reverb. So thank you for that, Mike.
You're welcome.
you're
I don't
the
remember
guy.
any of it, but all right.
It's
I remember the gig. I don't remember saying that, but
I just
something
got my
would've-
Kamaka that day, and I was so excited to play it and stuff, and I just got deflated. We're like, oh, I'm like, oh, never mind then, I guess.
it,
I don't remember you actually using pedals in that performance, though. Too.
That's what I said to you last week. I'm like, I didn't even use any of it. I think, like, I mean, I just had it.
And you
part
can
of the
still
board.
find that video somewhere too. I think.
Yeah,
So, no, I mean,
it was on
I
Ryan's
think-
old channel.
my thing with
He
pedals is, and has always been, like, you should be able to play first.
Yeah,
If you can play first, the pedal. I mean, let's be real here. You can't get a distortion sound purely from your hands.
Mm.
I mean, you could get it if you crank the hell out of your amp.
yeah.
But-
and my
but you
hand
can't
is
get-
turning the amp, Mike.
But you can't. But you can't get that. Like, there's certain effects that you can't get by purely your hands. The thing is, there are definitely people who hide their technical limitations behind that stuff.
Mhm.
But then if they get to the point where, like, someone like you is, yeah, if we put a big old pedal board with all sorts of crazy stuff in front of you, the fact that you can pretty much play whatever comes to your mind can be combined with the weird effects from those pedals to make some really cool music. The thing is, you can take a pedal further than a lot of people could because you also have the technical ability to back it up. And there are definitely things that I use pedals for too. I'm not a guy who just says zero pedals. And there's some stuff that I can't do, But that's also why my pedal board is also like 4 pedals, and one of them is a volume pedal, so that doesn't even really count.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my DI pedal doesn't count. It doesn't add anything other than like EQ it.
Yeah, I mean, so that's my second is like my Tech 21, the little that metal strip pedal I have. It's like chorus and some stuff in there, but really all I ever use it for is like the Sansamp EQ that's built in.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, I have that and I have that. I have a volume. So like my other 2 pedals, they kind of change out. I have been playing around with an octaver, which has been a lot of fun. And what I can use that for is even on my 4-string bass or even my 5-string bass, if I wanted to get like that 808 kind of electro sound that people are doing, yeah, I can do that with the octave pedal and like a filter that I couldn't really do with my hands. You can't modulate your signal like that. But in the end, I can show up with none of that stuff and my bass, and I can still play.
Yeah.
And if
skills to back it up, yo.
that you have to. You kind of if you don't have those fundamental music skills, then the problem really becomes that what you have all these awesome sounds that don't say anything.
Very
That's
good.
what I usually get out of people who go that other direction and mission control everything, and they show up and they have like this enormous, sometimes 2 enormous pedal boards. I've seen that. Like guitarists who show up and they have like 2 fat pedal boards. I'm like going, what are you doing? Now I do kind of understand it if it's one of those guys who does also play completely solo. Like they're trying to do like a whole solo gig just by themselves. So okay, I understand that a little bit more. But even then, like I look at someone who's doing like a solo gig, someone we've had on the Ukulele Underground channel, Evan K or Keilana Mokulahua. If you see that both the pedal boards are no bigger than this. They have like these little pedal train pedal boards, and yet they have enough the right things in the right places that they can sound like amazing. Now I also just say this: if you're the type of person who likes to collect random pedals, just because there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
And we've talked about that on this pod where like we had the Hatsune Miku pedal. That's pretty cool.
Did you find it? Did you find one?
Yeah.
Someone sent one to us.
Yeah.
Oh
Mark.
my gosh!
No, I mean they took it. It was just to borrow
Loaned
it,
it
just to
to
kind
us.
loaned it to us. Yeah, someone
Yeah.
loaned it to us.
Even
To
still,
kinda
you get
check
to
out.
play.
Yeah, we did. It's fun, man. Super fun.
Please
Yeah,
tell
I'm
me
not
that's filmed
condemning
somewhere.
pedals. I think they're lots of fun, but yeah, like it was a kind of a crossroads in my in my career or my playing that like maybe I am relying on these a little bit too much, and I think if I did go with that route, like I wouldn't be as I mean, I'd want to say clean because I don't play clean at all, but I wouldn't be as technical as I am now because I think I'll be relying on the sound of the pedal instead of like really just focusing on what my ukulele can do. So that was really a turning point. I'm like, I should just learn this, like you said, should learn this, and then like put something on top so you can kind of use the effect as a complement to what you're already doing.
Yeah. Effects
Right?
should, and that's the thing. Effects should always be a complement to your playing.
Yeah. Speaking of saying something, we wrote. You're in for a treat, Mike, because we're about to play you some songs. Because today our songs are due. They were due last week, but somebody didn't do it, so we had an extension.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say who didn't do it last week, but let's just say that somebody didn't do it last week, so that everybody gets an extension.
And
So,
shame on them.
shame on them. Not gonna mention their name, but right, Kahai? We're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah, they just have to wear the red treble clef.
The red treble clef.
Yeah.
Should make patches. Okay, so yes, our songwriting songs are due. I saw one person like put up a song for this challenge, right, Kahai?
Yeah, Hamsini, I think.
Hamsini
Nice.
did another amazing song. So good job, Hamsini. But our songs are due, and for everyone else, they're due next week. Because everybody gets an extension, right? Because that one person, not gonna say who, that one person decided not to just completely just disrespect the show, and they're like, I'm just not gonna do it. So
Yeah. They didn't even have an excuse like their dog ate it or something. You know?
Not, I mean, you know what I mean? Just a total disregard for the other people on the show that are writing and working very hard on their songs so that they can put it out on time. But anyway,
But
enough about me.
somebody please, but sometime through this course, somebody please use the excuse "my dog ate my song." I really want to hear someone try that with a straight face.
I wonder if somebody has already done that and it was on a previous show.
That's right. I did that.
Nobody. What? No, I didn't do that. No, it's a real big dog. I don't have to wear the red treble
He ate
clef.
my guitar.
Yeah. But okay, so this month, I guess, or this challenge, Kahai, why don't you let us know what the guidelines of this challenge was?
It was like an open challenge, so you could really do anything, play any chord,
Mhm.
play any key.
Mhm.
But some of the bonuses were like key modulation, writing a folk song about a truck stop, diner or dinner. Writing about sharks because it was Shark Week too.
Mhm.
And then what was the last one? There's one more I think too.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Let me try and look it up.
Well, there was the chord progression of a major two, so like one and major two instead of a minor two, so like one, like adding a major two in there. I think like you already mentioned modulation to a different key.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Is it part of it?
I remember what it was. It was
Like-
end of a summer song, right?
Oh
Right,
yeah,
of a song about
yeah.
the end of summer. Yeah.
Okay, so let me start then. So I didn't do it last week. I had this chorus, and that's all I had. So wait 1 second. Kahai, actually, can you? I gotta listen to it. I haven't played it in like 3 days. So,
Yeah.
but if I listen to it real quick, and I should be able to get it. 1 second. Talk about something, Mike. Real quick. Give me like 10 seconds.
Or
I
I can go.
Or you can go. You want to go?
I can go too, but I also have it's funny because during the last podcast while I was like editing it and listening to it, it's funny because I was like, I have a story too of something that Mike told me that has always stuck with me since. Like, and it's not like a huge musical reveal or something, but I played guitar in our high school like dance band. It's called that. And I was plugging in my guitar one day, my electric guitar, and then I was using like a cable with a right angle plug, and so I was plugging in the straight side, and as I was doing it, I had to ask Mike for help for something, and then do you remember this, Mike? You said, "Hey dummy, you plug in the right angle side into your guitar, not the straight side." And since then, like I always do that too. Like to
You
this
never
day.
made that mistake.
Yeah, and I feel I intentionally like make it a point. Like even when back at the office when I would set up Aldrine's ukulele, I would put the right cable side next to the right angle cable side next to his uke to be like, you plug this side in, not this side, because it has stuck with me ever since. So yeah.
I don't remember any of these. I don't remember any of these. They're so offhanded. But again, that comment sounds exactly like something I would say. Probably preface like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
Don't you know you're supposed to do this?
I think it was okay. First things first, because I think it was like, "Hey Mike, can you help me like tune up my guitar or something?" And you're like, "Okay, first things first. You plug this side into your guitar, not that side." I was like, "Oh, okay. I'll plug it." Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's designed for, though. You know, it's designed so you can't pull it out.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All right, so I got it. So okay. Here we go. So the only thing that I really did is the major 2, and I wrote about a diner. I started writing about a diner, and I'm just like, I gave up on it like midway. So here's the song. It's in D. So it goes. I didn't even do a folk song. It goes like this. Hey, floats table for one. I know that breakfast is done, but can you do me a solid? White rice, eggs over easy, hamburger patty, brown gold covers in need. Don't be shamed, don't be shamed. Don't be shamed, don't be shamed. Just pour more gravy for me, side of sweet Portuguese to make it complete. Pour more gravy on me, side of sweet Portuguese to make it complete. Hey Flo, lunch has begun. I think this party for one's going to the next level. Oxtail, ginger, cilantro, side bowl where bones go, and maybe a pillow. Don't be shamed, don't be shamed. Don't be shamed, don't be shamed. Pour more oxtail for me, side of sweet Portuguese to make it complete. Pour more oxtail for me, side of sweet Portuguese to make it complete. Just pour more gravy for me, side of sweet Portuguese to make it complete. Just pour more gravy for me, side of sweet Portuguese to make it complete. I just remember that one is karaoke track, which means it's falsetto, so I did some falsetto.
Very cool.
Thank you. Started out as a diner, but I'm like, no, breakfast sounds a lot better. And then I'm like, why don't I just stay in that same chair and eat lunch right afterwards? And for those people who are not like from Hawaii, Portuguese sausages are sweet, and I like to eat Portuguese sausages with my loco moco, which is what the song is about, because I like to cut all that sauce with a little bit of sweet Portuguese sausage. It's just what I do. That's just something that I learned from Kauai Kitchens that has closed down for a long time. And then the second part talks about oxtail soup. Mike, tell us a little bit about oxtail soup.
It's my father's favorite soup, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He I don't know too much other than that, really. I'll always take a Simon over oxtail soup.
Oh, sacrilegious.
That's just my only personal. But my dad will always, like, when he comes home from if he's been on a trip or something like that.
Mhm.
First place he always says, "We're gonna go to Tip Top, get a takeout, get a takeout oxtail soup," and he takes it home and just demolishes it right there.
That's the diner I'm talking about. That's the diner I wrote it about. It's about Tip Top.
Oh, so sad too. Nighttime close now.
Yeah, there was a lady named Florenda. So it's like I remembered it's like, oh, call me Flo. I was like, okay, cool, Flo, like the one from Progressive. All right, so yeah, that was my song. So, Kahai.
Okay, I'm just gonna play it.
Okay, go ahead. Nice, man. Now that I have like headphones, I can appreciate it a lot more. You know, like the little things that you did.
That
there.
sounded cool.
Awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your song, bud.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to. I'm not really like, I don't really know classic folk music or like old folk music. I'm more familiar with like Mumford and Sons and the Lumineers.
That was definitely was like the first thing that I thought.
Yeah. So I tried to kind of make it more like that, and I think this track has like my record for most like tracks I've recorded or I've had like instruments playing and stuff. I think it's like 50 or something, because like for there's like little there's claps happening on 2 and 4, and so for that I just clapped like I have it written down. I clapped 14 times. So I made like 14 tracks of like different claps and then layered it together, so like it sounds like a whole bunch of people clapping. Yeah. And then I tried to add a lot of layers to it. So I actually, like last week, I had the track done and I had like guitar, ukulele that I was playing in it, and I programmed the bass and stuff. But I wanted to use my mandolin, but I needed to restring it. But I didn't have it restrung in time, so this week I was like, I'll restring it and I'll record it. So I added that in, and then I added in the banjo too and some other stuff. So yeah, just things like that.
Nice. What was that? It was like a reversed effect.
Yeah.
Section where...
because it's like a key modulation. It goes from the original key is in D, and then it modulates to A, and so the modulation is kind of like it's the chords that are being played is a G major to a G minor, and then it's like a whole tone step up with the bass that's just like going up and up and up, and then it lands on A. So then I play that section in A, and then I kind of did the reverse to get back to the key of D. So
Cool.
yeah, it goes from an F sharp minor to a F sharp major, and then the bass like is playing backwards, where it's like taking steps down until it lands back into D. And I reversed the guitar to the guitar recordings that I did, so it sounds like it's coming
that
backwards.
sounded cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Good ideas, man.
Wow. Yeah.
Cool. Aaron.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, just kind of folk-ish song. Also in D. It's weird. Yeah, like everybody chose D this time for the open challenge. So. I was trying to write about a diner and it didn't come out, so this is what came out instead. So yeah. Okay. Both sides of a coin are just part of the coin, and both sides of the bridge make the bridge. Both sides of the story tell more of the story, and both sides of the aisle let the aisle exist, and the sun cast a shadow. No matter the name, no matter the name, every side is the same. No matter the name, the two sides of a brain make one hell of a brain, and the two sides of a wheel make a wheel. The two sides of a body, they don't fight over the body, and the two sides of a blade can't cut each other's steel, and the sun cast a shadow. No matter the name, no matter the name, what everyone wants is the same. It don't matter the name. And who do you insist isn't a part of you? And who will we find to become the enemy? 'Cause it don't matter the name, it's all one and the same. Finding someone to blame. No, it don't matter the name. No, it don't matter the name. It don't matter the name.
That was giving me some awesome Bob Dylan vibes. I love it.
Yeah. So like that was kind of like when I was thinking folk, that was like the first person that came to mind. So I
Yeah.
was listening to like a bunch of Dylan, and then like because he was so kind of political, like I never write political kind of songs, but because he was so political, it was like it kind of has to,
Right.
you know,
Right.
has to deal with that somehow. And like the thing that for me, the thing that is kind of at the forefront of my mind recently politically is just the fact that everything feels so divided. You know, like the social
Yeah.
media and everything,
Mhm.
everything on the news just makes people feel like, it's either
Yeah.
you're with us
Yeah.
or you're
Pick a
against
side.
us. Yeah, if you're not with us, then you're against us, and you're trying to bring me down.
Mhm.
But really, it's like, take a step back and realize that everybody is just part of the same thing, And
Mhm.
so I think that's sort of like a, kind of a philosophy that he would have had. So
Yeah.
I kind of really stripped down the lyrics too. Like I tried to be very,
Mhm.
very plain with the lyrics,
But,
not add
yeah.
too many syllables and do a lot of rhyming like right after one after another. And then yeah, not try to overcomplicate it, try to make it like a simple concept that can just be like driven home. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
cool.
And I love that, like the chorus, like the chorus for the chorus is that ding 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 ding. That,
Yeah,
like, the
yeah, so,
chord progression for
and
that
then
is really awesome.
that was kind of weird too, because like the C is not in the D, right? In the key of D. So like I don't know where my mind pulled that out of. It was just
Let's
one of
ask
those-
Mike.
Yeah.
Let's ask Mike. It's from the key of
Well,
D. He hit a C in there.
You can.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Well, I mean, okay, there's a bunch of different ways you could think about that.
Mhm.
You could think of the C as a transit. Well, do you think of the song as in D major or D minor?
In D major, but it
Okay.
flirts with both the key of A and the key of G. So I could see the in the key
So
of G.
the way you
it'd
could
be a
think about
C.
it is that it's actually flirting with a transition between D major and D minor, because in D minor, a C natural chord would actually work.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So, I mean, you could have been just for one chord, you bop out of the key and come back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the flat, but
Stick your
using the
head
flat,
out.
but using the flat 7 as a chord like that is not completely uncommon though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you
Especially
can totally do that.
Yeah,
You hear
in
that a
that
lot
kind
in
of
blues
context.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, people
Right on,
using
guys.
those minor intervals works just fine.
Uh-huh.
So let's have Mike's closing thoughts on all three songs.
Well, I always love all your guys' songs. You know, Aldrine always manages to do like. How do I put this? So Aldrine, you always manage to do like these little slice of life ones.
Yeah.
Like most of your songs are kind of like that. They're very much you in the sense that like it's something that you would do. Like I can picture you doing, or that because I think about there's that song, the Thwip song from a bunch of months ago.
Yeah, they're
Like
swing.
very much whatever you write about, like if someone knows you, you immediately that's an Aldrine idea. You know, Aaron kind of bumps more all over the place, but it still always has. You always have that kind of. You always manage to find like a cool groove. I think that's a hallmark of Aaron's songs is he always finds like a cool groove to build everything else off of. And then Kahai is like the mad scientist. Because you know what I mean? Because I mean, so here you are. He's like, ukulele, here's my ukulele in my voice. Aaron's like, here's my ukulele in my voice. Kahai's like, here's my 50-part orchestra.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it makes it sound awesome. You like this. I think the biggest difference is Kahai, you tend to think very like prog rock / like orchestrally.
Yeah.
You know, like I hear like the songs that he does, I totally hear like even though the song he just did was more like an Americana feel, there were so many moving parts to it. It's like Rush doing Americana music.
Yeah. Somebody in the comments said like it sounds like a mix of the Avett Brothers meets Daft Punk. And so I responded back to them is like I can't get away from that like EDM or punk pop or that kind of like production. It's like I always come back to that stuff.
Yeah. or
Set
that
new blood inside you.
what was it? Wake Me Up by Avicii.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is exactly it. Yeah, and I think I tend to lean towards those things because like I don't sing in my songs, or like I don't, even this song, I tried to add like that, like in those in modern folk bands now, the trend is that there's like a part where they just go, "Hey," like all of the band members.
Yeah.
So I tried to do that. Like I recorded myself doing that, just yelling "Hey." And I layered it up and I tried to make that, but it wasn't coming out right. So I was like, I'm going to just take it out. And when I took it out, like, that's where it's like, well, I can put a banjo in there, though. I know how to program a banjo into this song. So do stuff like that. I think I always like want to like, I don't have any lyrics. I'm not singing or doing anything. So I'm going to fill it with other instrumentation or something. Yeah.
Right on. Good job, everybody. So, that's basically it for for our song. So if you guys got some ideas off of what we did, definitely let us know. Post it in the on the UU Plus forums labeled the weekly challenges or Thursday live lesson challenges.
Challenges.
Songwriting challenge, whatever it may be. So I'll post it over there and we'll check it out definitely. So thank you, Hamsini, for putting something up. But we'll give you guys another week, and then we'll comment on some of the songs that have been sent over. But if Hamsini is the only one, we'll check it out and we'll comment on that next week. Once again, it is any key that you want to. You can add some stuff. For example, like you can add lyrics, you can have it be folky, you can write about a diner or dinner or sharks. Nobody wrote about sharks this week, You can write about, you can make it a karaoke sing-along, add falsetto in there if you want to add falsetto in there. You can add the major two, which Aaron, like, actually went the other direction. He went with a flat 7 instead of a major 2. Instead of going forward, he went backwards.
Oh, no,
really cool.
the major 2 was in there though.
Was it there?
The bridge.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. That he went with the with a flat 7 also. So you went forward and backwards. Look at this guy, Marty McFly over here.
Oh wait, I guess that's because you always ask me for this stuff. Yeah. There is an actual for you music nerds out there. There is something there that is an actual technique. It's called intervallic mirror harmony.
Ooh.
Just add this in for you guys at the end.
That's what this episode is called.
The way you construct the chords is you take a center note and then use the same interval going out and out and out and out, and that's how you create your chords.
Aaron, you knew that, right? Like you're like,
totally.
Intervallic.
That's why he did that.
While you're twisting your mustache, you're like, oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And then that kind of goes to show, really, like the music theory explains the music, and it usually goes in that direction, right? The music comes first, and the theory comes later, and it explains the music. But
yeah, he was writing like what's his name?
Huh? Ornette Coleman.
Yeah, see? He was just playing what he heard.
Oh yeah, Ornette Coleman's way weirder than that.
It's the beat culture.
Right, guys.
Actually, there might be a name that you might remember, Aldrine.
What's that?
Do you remember playing anything by a guy named Vincent Persichetti when you were in band? Or like Overture in B flat?
Doesn't sound familiar, no.
I think you must have played Overture in B flat somewhere. Anyway, the guy who wrote that was the one who wrote the book that had all that stuff in it.
Oh.
20th Century Harmony. There's some weird stuff in that book.
Check it out. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We've gone way over our time, but it's always awesome having Mike. So thank you so much, Mike, for joining us.
You're welcome, guys.
Hope you can join us again. Yeah, it's been way too long. Let's make this a lot more regular, okay?
We'll try.
People love seeing you, and we love having you, and you can actually answer the tough questions like ornate. I'll remember it before the day is over. But we'll see you folks later. Have a great one. Stick around for one-on-one coaching. But on behalf of myself, Mike, Kahai, and Aaron, we'll see you next time. Aloha.